Leaving a religion that shaped your entire life, that's no small thing. We're figuring that out together. Welcome to Humans Forward, the show that makes being human feel a little less complicated. I'm your host, Gentry Lusby. I used to be a pastor's kid, which means I was all in. Sunday morning services, Wednesday night youth groups, purity contracts, pastor kid camp. If there was a Bible verse memorization contest, I was winning that bike. True story. Lead in the church play? Check. Solo in the Christmas program? Check. Skipping Sunday service to sleep in the nursery? Check. At least until my mom found out. But what happens when you don't just skip church, you walk away entirely? Like one Sunday you're leading worship and the next you're wondering, what am I supposed to do with my personally monogrammed leather Bible? The next thing you know, you're in bed on a Sunday morning being all, oh wow, rest is biblical. Look at me being all Mary and not Martha. If you know, you know. So today we're talking about what it looks like on the other side of deconstructing faith and finding yourself in the process. My friend Ashley is here to help us figure it out. Welcome to Humans Forward, Ash.
Thanks, Jen.
I'm so excited that you're on the show. We've known each other a very long time at this point. I think, are we in the multiple decades yet? Maybe?
I think we're at like 17 or 18.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. We're going to have a really fascinating conversation that I think a lot of people will find intriguing, maybe even eye-opening.
Yes.
Maybe even disturbing, depending where they're coming from.
Most definitely.
But we're going to have fun.
I love it. Okay.
We're going to play Never Have I Ever. Have you played that?
I have, yes.
Yeah, of course. So we're just going to do it with, we just want to get to know you. So
okay.
No one's like holding up fingers and we're not keeping score. I'm just going to give you a Never Have I Ever statement and you just let us know if you have or have not.
Okay.
So this is Never Have I Ever Church Kid Edition.
Ooh. Okay.
Are you ready? Here we
Yes.
go. All right. So never have I gone on a missions trip that was actually just a glorified vacation.
I definitely have.
Where?
Armenia. Yeah, it was gorgeous, and we were really just there to participate in their church. I mean, we did a couple human videos, as we like to call them.
Human videos?
Oh.
That was not a thing we did.
You didn't do human videos?
No.
Oh, wow. It was essentially just acting things out on stage to a song.
So like
a music video, but live with humans.
Human video. I feel like we should maybe make one for TikTok.
Totally should.
All right. Never have I ever judged someone for skipping church only to do it myself later.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Never have I felt personally victimized by purity culture.
Definitely have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never have I tried to flirt to convert.
Yes, my first boyfriend. I definitely flirted to convert.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm. I did get him to go to church for a little bit.
Well done, you.
Thank you. Winning.
Okay, never have I ever listened to secular music in secret and repented afterward.
Definitely did that.
Who was your go-to?
Oh, man. Well, it started out, my gateway, as we like to call it, was Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. But then somehow it turned into like Missy Elliott and Ja Rule.
Yeah.
And like hardcore stuff.
You went down fast, Ashley.
Yeah, went down real fast.
Did you grow up only listening to Christian music?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, until I was like in my late teens, probably.
Yeah.
Or early teens.
Yeah, okay. Never have I ever been terrified of the rapture because I couldn't find my mom for 5 minutes.
Oh, man. I don't think I have.
Okay.
I don't think so.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have. I'm really happy for you, though, that you didn't have that fear instilled in you as a child.
Like you can't find someone and you're like, oh my gosh, the rapture happened and I didn't go. Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so I'm reading these and I'm thinking, people who never grew up in the church are going to have no idea what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Never have I ever tried to witness to a friend and immediately regretted how awkward it was afterward.
I can't recall a specific time. No.
Do you know that I can't recall a specific time of ever witnessing as a child?
Nope.
And I was a pastor's kid.
Right. I mean, I remember inviting kids to church with me.
Yeah, I guess that counts.
Yeah.
Never have I ever signed a purity contract to refrain from sex before marriage.
I never signed a contract, but I did ask for a purity ring to wear until I got married.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That was everything back then.
Yeah.
Oh. Never have I ever sat through a sermon and thought, wait, that doesn't make sense.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm really curious about this next one. Never have I ever made out with someone in the church basement.
Oh, man, I used to get, I got caught a couple times.
Did you really?
Oh, I did. Yeah, the back hallway.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, never have I ever faked speaking in tongues.
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's reassuring.
Yeah. You want to fit in.
Yeah. Never have I started questioning things but felt too scared to say it out loud.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And never have I ever finally walked away from religion and felt both terrified and completely free at the same time.
Yes. That's a great way to sum that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a great transition.
It is.
Into our topic. It's like I did that on purpose.
Wow. You must have planned this.
Maybe I did. How many apps are you juggling to keep your work on track? You've got one for notes, one for communication, one for updates, one for project management, and somehow the most important piece of information you needed still got buried in an email thread somewhere. I used to feel like this all the time until I found ClickUp. Now, I manage my entire business with it, from creating content to project management to even producing the Humans Forward show. ClickUp is how I keep everything organized and moving forward. ClickUp adapts to how you work. So whether you're working solo or you're working with a team, it helps you stay focused and organized. It's kind of like having a personalized command center for your business or your life, let's be honest, that helps you stay organized and get things done. And you can try it for free using my link, gentrylusby.com/ClickUp. It's an affiliate link. So if you sign up using the link, you help support this show. Go check out ClickUp. It's the all-in-one productivity platform to manage your work your way. Okay, let's be honest. How's your email marketing game going? I have spent more hours than I probably should admit on trying all the different email marketing platforms and dealing with clunky editors and then wondering what my open rates were. And honestly, all of that changed when I found Kit. Kit made email marketing really, really simple, especially for creators and entrepreneurs who want less hassle and more impact. You can write engaging emails really fast and simply. You can even do advanced automations or simple automations. It's all right there for you. And there's lots of data that you get access to see just how all of your emails are performing. So no fluff, no corporate nonsense. Just a really powerful tool made for people like us. It's also trusted by people like James Clear and Tim Ferriss and Pat Flynn. And you can try Kit for free using my link, gentrylusby.com/kit. By using that link, you're not only upgrading your email game, you're also supporting this show because it's an affiliate link. Check out Kit, email made effortless. So Ash, if you had to describe your life in church in one word, what word would you choose?
Oh, this is going to sound really bad, but it's the only word that's coming to my mind. Blind.
Blind. Okay, tell me why.
I think because you're just kind of blindly going with what everyone else is doing. Mm-hmm. You hear things and you just accept them for exactly what you hear because they're like adult. Like when you're a kid, adults know everything, you know? And so there wasn't a lot of questioning when I was younger about anything because adults know. Yeah. Why would they tell me wrong?
Yeah. That word feels very much like the current version of you
Mm,
looking back. If you were the little Ashley,
the little Ashley.
what word would you have used to describe your life in church?
Comfort.
Okay, so tell me why.
Because it's when I felt like my family was the happiest, or we looked the happiest. My friends were there. Um, it just felt like a safe place for me.
Yeah,
Community,
yeah,
relationships. A lot of my friends were church people because my mom was nervous about me hanging out with a lot of other kids
yeah,
at a younger age.
yeah. That's a good word. I think that's probably applies to a lot of us that grew up in church because in that moment, it was comforting.
Right.
And it was safe.
Right.
Or it
And
felt
it's
safe.
and it's like it's a routine.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I found a lot of comfort in routine. And I remember as a kid, I still have these letters, but like I would often write to my parents, like, please assign me a bedtime. Like I literally
So
was the
structured.
kid that asked for rules.
Yeah.
Because I loved the comfort of rules.
Yeah. So religion felt comfortable then.
Yeah,
For sure.
it was perfect for
Yeah.
me. I knew exactly what was expected of me, the parameters, and what to do, what not to do, and if you do it wrong.
So you were deeply, deeply ingrained in church from a young
Yes.
age.
Yeah, I grew up in church.
Paint us a picture of what that meant for you. You can go back to childhood all the way up to the adult in church as a leader.
Yeah.
Give people a sense of just how deeply ingrained this was for you.
My mom was the advocate for going to church when I was born because, I think a lot of parents want to make sure they raise their kids the best that they can and give them morals and so, she really pushed for our family to go to church. And I don't ever remember not being in church. We go every Sunday. I was in children's ministry. Our worship leader at the time wrote a lot of plays. He was brilliant. Wrote the music for all of the shows, and I was always in those. I did missionettes.
Missionettes, that's like the church version of Girl Scouts?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You earn your badges for your
We
sash.
had Royal Rangers. That was the
yes,
the boys version.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I did all that. I went to church camp every summer. Again, like I said, most of my friends were all in the church. My parents' friends were all people from church. So I was just like heavily saturated in it. And when, Wednesday nights were youth group when I got older. I think when I hit like 16, 17, it was kind of like, oh, okay, like, is church really like my thing? Maybe I'm like kind of growing out of it. And I remember not wanting to really be as deep into the youth group as I had been before. I started like hanging out with more of the secular people once I like got my license and I could actually drive. And then I was involved in like community theater and, junior high through high school. I was involved in school theater.
Yeah.
And so, you start making friends outside of church and then it kind of pulls you away from it a little bit. But I went to college after graduating, theater major, and it was a terrible experience. I got bullied hardcore.
In college?
Yes, and I was trying to live like the cool secular girl life.
Okay.
But I had no idea what I was doing. Like that was the first time I had really ever had
You went to a
independence.
secular college?
Yeah, I went to Millersville.
Okay.
And like it was like the most stark contrast to the way I had grown up. Like the girls that lived next door to me were from Philly, and they were like they were party girls, and I'm just trying to fit in because like I was a deeply insecure person. I didn't know how to really function in normal world outside of school. And so yeah, it ended up being a really awful experience, getting bullied. And I had a friend at the time who went to master's commission after high school. And it was this 9-month intensive program, church program essentially. And you were learning how to do ministry you're taking college courses, but you were in this bubble essentially. And, there were very strict rules, like you're literally committing your life to God for 9 months. You pray for an hour every day. Okay. You go to Bible classes. You're doing ministry in the evenings,
It's super intense.
Super intense. Yeah. You're not allowed to date for those 9 months. And I was like, okay, I've gone boy crazy. I've gone down the wrong path. And so I'm an extremist, apparently. So I went from like secular college to 12 people that are praying
all day long.
Yeah. Reading the Bible in its entirety in 9 months and having to quote 50 verses by the time you graduate. That's like one of your requirements.
Okay.
Yeah. So I decided to go to this 9-month intensive program. I loved rules. That felt comforting to me. Everybody's going to tell me what to do. I know exactly what is expected of me.
Interesting.
And they will keep me in control because I don't know how to control myself, apparently.
That's how you felt when you went to college?
Yes. Yeah. I felt like I lost control. I didn't know how to be on my own. I didn't know how to be an independent person. I needed someone to think for me, decide for me. It was just super, my mom was very, she wanted the best for me, but you didn't have to think much. It was, you basically were just making sure you were meeting the expectations that were expected of you. Yeah. So yeah, then I go to master's commission. I'm wearing a wedding ring to Jesus. We have this.
Oh, okay.
We have this whole commitment ceremony.
Is that a different ring than the purity ring that you were been wearing?
Yes, that I wore on my thumb.
Okay.
And then I wore my commitment ring.
Interesting.
On my wedding finger, because I was essentially marrying myself to God for those 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I said, you're not supposed to date or anything like that. There was a staff member at Master's Commission who was just not very nice to me. And we were like constantly bickering and competing for like the center of attention.
Okay.
And I remember my female director, she sat me down and she was like, I think it might have been both my directors. They were married. They sat me down and they were like, so we don't know if you've noticed, but, this person is, you guys are kind of disruptive. You're creating some disruption in the group. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, they're a lot, And I remember my director being like, well, he's acting that way towards you because he likes you and he's trying not to. And I remember in that moment thinking, are we back in high school? Like, this is a staff member. But okay. All right. But now I'm 6 months into the program and my director is telling me a staff member likes me.
Yeah, that's
very conflicting.
Very conflicting.
Very conflicting.
What did you do with that?
To be frank, I was not super attracted to that person. I mean, no, I didn't have anything against him, but I didn't necessarily feel the same way. But now it's like a staff member, kind of a awkward situation.
Yeah, kind of a weird power dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
And then other people, the lead pastor of the church found out about it, and I I know it was before my 9 months ended, but it was just, I hate to use the aggressive term of grooming, but it was a lot of like, you can't act on this yet, but like, this would be such an amazing, like, you both have very similar visions for where you want to go. You're both on the worship team. Like, it could just be, you guys could create such a beautiful ministry. And
So lots of leading.
Yeah. And me, that's all. I just want people to tell me what to do because I have no idea how to think for myself.
Yeah.
Deeply insecure. And I want to honor God.
Right.
I just came out of a very short stint of living in the real world, and I'm like, whoo, I do not have the capability to do it.
Yeah.
And so I ended up graduating. He had made a year-long, I think it was either a year or 9-month commitment to not date either because he had dated another staff member and it had gone horribly wrong.
Got it.
So his 9 months didn't end until the end of the summer. So we kind of had this like weird time where I went home for the summer, but I know he likes me kind of thing. Anyway, I went back for a second year. And in that time, we started dating.
Were you allowed to date at that point?
At that time, yes, you were allowed to date. However, to be above reproach and to keep yourself pure, I could never be alone with him.
Okay.
So he's a staff member,
but
there always has to be either another staff member, adult, or fellow student with us to keep us safe.
From yourselves.
From ourselves.
And this felt normal or
again,
confusing?
Because of how my experience with church, why would anyone tell you anything to harm you?
Okay.
Again, I'm used to being told what's expected of me and not really questioning it. And so it was kind of like, okay. I remember having counseling with the lead pastor's wife and being like, I'm not physically attracted to this person, like, at all. But like, I don't know, like everyone seems to think we'll make this power couple. And I remember her telling me, well, sometimes, the physical things of a relationship don't happen until later. It's when you make the commitment that then God honors that for you. And I'm like, okay, well, I must be really unholy because I was attracted to a lot of people. I was the flirty girl. Long story short, he proposed to me at a function. It was a dinner. I said yes. Yeah, the directors of our program were moving to Philadelphia to start a church. They asked us to come along to start another master's commission with them. And so that was kind of the trajectory.
Yeah.
However, the day we got married was the first day we were alone.
Get out.
Yeah.
The day you got married was the first day you were alone?
After the wedding, yes.
Was it your first kiss?
No, we had kissed.
Okay.
But yes, that was the first time I ever experienced this person outside of them being well, you know how, I mean, you're a staff member and you're
on duty.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. My parents were not happy about me getting married.
Okay.
They were not supportive of it at all.
Do you know why?
I love my mom, but I am going to quote her. She told me that with legitimate crying, you're going to end up on Oprah because he's gay. And I was like...
Your mom told you that?
Yes. And I was like, no, I understand. He does kind of have, more... He's a theater person.
Yeah.
It's...
Your mom told
not
you
really
that.
like that. She was right. I remember getting married. I really was not thrilled about the whole idea of a wedding. And so I really let him plan everything.
Wedding or marriage or both?
All of it. I mean, I really didn't understand what I was signing up for, really.
Because you were how old?
I had just turned 21. Yeah.
So young.
I was very young, and really hadn't experienced any life outside of strict rules. Yeah, I remember showing up on our wedding day just to get myself ready and participate. And it was a fun party. I mean, I had a great time at the party. But like, definitely was not interested in any of the other parts of it. But then leaving the wedding, I cried the whole way to
really?
Yeah, the place that we were staying the night before we were leaving for our honeymoon. And
why do you think you got married?
I wanted to do the right thing, you know, like I wanted to honor God and make sure I was living the life he called me to live and not be rebellious.
And you felt at that time that you were called to ministry. So marrying a fellow minister.
Correct.
Felt like the right thing to do.
Right. And everyone else was saying, it all adds up.
Yeah.
You know, you're like on the same path.
Yeah. Did it feel like a holy sacrifice or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, and I think there were a lot of mentors in my life at that point that told me the same thing. Like, sometimes you have to sacrifice certain things in order to create something that's going to honor God.
What do you think about that?
To be quite frank, you can bleep me. I think it's horse shit.
We have no bleeping on Humans Forward.
I think it's a load of crap.
Oh, no, you say what you want. We don't bleep it.
Okay.
We don't censor anyone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is just not good advice.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a part, I have to take responsibility for my own self, right? And I just was not in a place where I had enough life experience and knew who I was to be making those decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got married and you went into ministry together.
Yes.
And you did Master's Commission.
Yes.
You were Master's Commission pastors.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in charge of worship.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So you said a couple times you were always theater, musical theater, in music, doing worship, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So when you were married and you were doing this, leading this program, doing worship, did you feel fulfilled?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, singing, leading worship was when I felt most like myself. I just had this gift, which, like intuitively leading worship. Like I felt like I could feel what the people needed to hear. And, you know, a lot of times the church, so there was the Master's Commission band and then there's the church band. And when I would sing with the church band, you know, I never wanted to have a plan. Like I wanted to have a set list, but I might want to sing that chorus 3 times and I'm going to give you this sign if I want to do it. But they didn't want to do that. They just wanted to go through the structures of the song. And so with the students, you know, I taught them how to flow in your intuition, to feel what's happening in the room and to kind of guide things in those directions.
So you're saying intuition now. Back then you would have said what? What
was the word they used?
Spirit? Holy Spirit?
The Holy Spirit, yeah. But I think they called it...
Did they call it
They didn't call it... I forget what they called it now. It's been so long ago. But yeah, essentially, it was a word like that. Yeah. Prophetic. Maybe it's prophetic worship.
Oh, prophetic worship. Okay.
Maybe that's what they called it. Yeah.
Essentially, leading people through a an experience in sound and music and words and worship
Mhm.
in a way that is very fluid,
Yep.
very led by your intuition,
Yep.
based on what's happening in the room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel now about growing up in the church?
At this point in my life, I am able to be grateful for the morals,
Mhm.
trying to always do the right thing. But I do think that it did harm
Mm-hmm.
for me as well. So yeah, it's kind of holding space for both,
Yeah.
honoring the good things about it, taking
Yeah.
those away and keeping those.
What were some of the aspects or good things about it that you're grateful for?
I think I'm grateful that it kept me safe in certain ways. It didn't fall in with a bad crowd, as they like to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think it taught me how to be a good person, how to be respectful. I think it taught me spirituality. I wouldn't have used that term at the time,
Yeah.
but I think it did teach me how to tap into that side of myself.
What about the other side, the harm? What
The
do
harm.
you think was the biggest harm done to you, or maybe some of the biggest harm done to you?
In my experience, I think the way that it harmed me the most is that I never learned how to think for myself. I think it, you know, for women in general, at least at that time, it taught that we're supposed to live this life of sacrifice, of suffering almost. And like, that's what earns you your value. That's what earns you your worth. That's what makes you lovable.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, it almost like removed joy or choosing. And you shouldn't challenge things because the Bible says this. It was almost used as like a way to silence you when you had an opinion or a different thought. And yeah, I just think for me, it set me up to be thoughtless. It set me up to just accept things without having my own thought. And that suffering and sacrificing who you are specifically for the better of other people is what made you a good person.
A lot of your experience that you shared is about wanting to do the right thing, be a good girl, honor God. It goes along with the harm of sacrifice and not knowing yourself and not trusting yourself and being silenced. Did you ever feel those things in the moment?
No. No. I don't ever remember feeling like not negatively.
Yeah.
I just felt like they were good. Like,
Yeah.
oh, the more I'm suffering, the more I'm sacrificing, the more pleased God is going to be with me.
Did you feel that way in your marriage?
Yeah. For sure.
We're going to fast forward to the point when things in church and religion started to shift for you. And so if we had to think of deconstructing as lining up a bunch of dominoes in a run, what was the first domino that fell that just started this entire deconstruction, walking away from religion and finding yourself in the process?
Right. I would say it was my life outside of ministry. My husband at the time, he still is a great person. He has a great heart. He wants to love people. But as a married couple, it was the most odd backwards experience I've ever had, and to me, he was also told he had to live this secret life, to deny or shut down parts of him that the Bible said were unacceptable. And I don't think he ever had any malicious intent. I think he cared for me. I think we both cared for each other. I think he was trying to escape himself in ways. Wasn't really willing to accept those parts of himself because they were not they were not what would please God.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a marriage, you know?
Yeah.
We were great ministry partners, great at that. But the marriage was just not fulfilling at all. It was kind of toxic. I became very depressed as I just wanted to feel love, and I wanted to be in love. Like, I wanted to give that, but I couldn't, because I never had those feelings from the get-go.
Yeah.
Care for you. I think you're an amazing person, but I'm not in love with you. I'm not building a love relationship with you. You can only keep up that facade for so long before it starts to like creep out and spill in to the other parts of your life. And I think one of the other things that was another domino was the church staff paying him, but not paying me.
Really?
Yes.
You're both ministry leaders.
Yes.
And he was the only one getting paid.
Co-directing this program, but I'm not getting paid.
And you just instinctively knew that was wrong.
That doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And, there was always excuses, right? Well, when you build it to be a bigger program, there will be more funds
it's unbelievable
to pay you and things of that nature. And it's like, okay, but sacrifice, right?
Right.
Is for God. And eventually God's going to honor me.
Back around. It's so tightly woven that you can't question it, because when you start to question and pull at one thread, it unravels.
Yes.
Which I think we both know at this point in our life.
Right.
Because you eventually did start to pull at the thread.
Yeah.
So what happened in your life that started to cause you to pull at the thread, but also maybe even before then, just start to walk away from church?
I think it was just, I was starting to scare myself. My mental health was starting to scare me. Living one life behind closed doors, but then also trying to be turn on another part of me when I'm doing doing ministry, and it felt like I was living a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was a double life.
Personas.
Yeah. My personal life, private life was not fulfilling. And it was just becoming so depressing and so sad. And yeah, I knew I started like running away a lot, like going back home on weekends, because I needed to get away from it. And so I think it was like you start slowly running away, and it's all the signs of you're starting to pull away, right? And we did lots of therapy for 4 years, you know, trying to work through all of it. And I just got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't think this is actually how God wants me to live my life. I don't think God would want me to be this sad.
Yeah.
I think God created marriage for you to enjoy marriage, and this is not that.
Yeah.
And there was another part of me which I, probably in the time was not seen or felt or communicated probably very well, but I also felt like I wanted to release him in the hopes that he would find happiness in the way that he wanted to be happy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't carry it anymore. I just couldn't do it. And so I asked to get divorced. at that point.
In this faith tradition, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're leaders.
Yeah. How did people respond?
Not well. And I obviously didn't. Again, I cared for him. He's a good person. I was not trying to throw him under the bus by any means. It's his story,
Yeah.
not mine. I mean, it's a part of my story, but I wanted to protect him and honor him still by not sharing with the world why I was leaving. I mean, I think the people that were closest to me knew at the time why it was falling apart, but it was not something I was going out and broadcasting to people.
But you paid a price for that.
I took I took the brunt of a lot of it because I was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the bad one. I was evil at that point.
Did that trigger something in you, or like the little girl in you that just wanted to be a good girl and do what was right?
No, I think it caused me to go back to that rebel.
Okay.
That rebellious thing where it's like, I'm misunderstood because I can't tell this story. And you don't understand, but now I'm dealing with all of this condemnation, all this shame, all this guilt, and people just thinking I'm a bad person now. And like, I think that's when faith really started deconstructing for me, because I was like, wait a second, didn't like Jesus come and tell us that we're supposed to love?
Right.
And like, why is it so easy for you to love the prisoner or love the homeless person and tell us that's who we should love, but the own people in your home make a mistake and now they're kicked out?
Yeah.
You know, like that doesn't add up in my brain.
So you were kicked out.
Essentially, how it all played out was they were starting a worship night and had asked me to be a part of it. And we got together for our first practice, and you know, they took a little video or whatever and posted it on social media. And I got a call from the lead pastor at the time who told me that some people had called to express their concern about why I was allowed to be up on the stage singing because I was getting divorced. And I will never forget his words. He said, I think God's calling you somewhere else.
Oh.
And I was like,
The manipulation.
wow. Right. So you're asking me to leave, but you're sugarcoating it by saying God's calling me somewhere else. And I never went back after that.
Was that a painful exit for you?
I think there was a lot of anger at first. Again, I'm being silenced again, essentially. I can't really share what's happening and why.
Yeah.
I'm misunderstood.
Yeah.
And that's so incredibly frustrating. And I think it just felt anger. I felt anger at first, but then, you know, quickly after the anger is the extreme grief. And the like, what am I going to do now? Like, I've lost my community of people. I've lost my purpose. I've lost my family. Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah. Complete unraveling of everything that gave you that comfort and security for so many years.
Exactly.
There are a lot of people deconstructing right now. Why do you think it's happening on such a large scale?
Yeah, I think that there's been a shift in that, in, you know, each generation learns a little bit more from the generation before it. And I think our generation is just questioning everything. We're not willing to just take everything we're given. And I think I think our generation is here to kind of break cycles and to challenge the system.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a lot of, at least from my experience, a lot of the people that are going through the deconstruction are people our age.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And in other terms, I think there's a spiritual awakening happening. I think something is rising that is calling us to truth and not just blind acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think then people are searching for?
I think people want to be good humans.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are looking for truth. And I think people want to love people, or want to at least try to love people.
Yeah.
And Christianity kind of makes it hard to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with everything, you have to learn to take what is good, and holy is the word coming to mind, and I hate that that's the
I
word
know.
coming to mind.
Yeah.
But you have to take what is good and leave the rest.
Yes.
And for a lot of people, yourself included, deconstruction in a way was almost forced on you because of the trauma that you experienced within a faith tradition and a church. I can't say that's my story. I wasn't kicked out. I don't have that. But the end result is the same, regardless of why your deconstruction starts, or regardless of why you end up walking away. I feel like the end result and where you're going, so many of us end up in this similar place of there's something bigger at play here.
Right.
And in order to be a part of that, we've had to let go of this. That's not easy for everyone.
Right.
Why do you think, even though people feel it within them that something is off and this isn't maybe the right thing for me anymore, why do you think it's still so hard for people to walk away?
I think because in Christianity, so much of it is fear-based without really recognizing that it's fear-based.
Okay, tell me what you mean by that.
Well, it's like if you don't read your Bible, you're going to go to hell. If you get divorced, you're going to dishonor God. If you don't love Jesus in your heart and the rapture happens, you're going to go to hell. Like, all these people are going to go to hell because they don't know Jesus.
Right.
Even these people in foreign countries that don't even know what a Bible is, they're going to go to hell because they don't know Jesus. And so it's like this fear, like, oh my gosh, we gotta save all these people
to save the world.
And when you're raised in that and you're in that conditioning in your brain, it's really hard to break that cycle. And I think a lot of people are afraid to leave because what if they're wrong?
Yeah.
Like, what if I got this wrong?
Yeah.
I don't want to go to hell.
Right.
Yeah,
it's so deeply ingrained in the way we were taught to think.
Yeah, or it's tradition, right? You don't want to cause a rift in your family. Like, who are you going to lose if you make this decision?
Yeah.
So you have to weigh it out. Like, is it worth walking away if it means I'm going to lose my family, or I'm going to lose my spouse, or even like the traditions of church culture? Are you going to lose your community?
Like you lost
exactly.
everything.
Right.
Yeah. So, Ash, what do you feel about religion as a whole and its place in society?
Okay. This is really good because I would say it hasn't been until the last year that I've been able to land in this spot.
Okay.
I truly believe everyone wants to do the right thing. Quite frankly, again, this new journey that I've been on, I'm reading a lot of things about different religions and how they're based around music, sound. And every creation story, minus the Native American creation story, they all start from a sound. And so many of the religious stories parallel in so many ways that my thought now is everyone telling the same story, but it's been passed down through generations, translations, cultural influences, political influences.
Yeah.
Like, how much has that story changed as it's been passed around? But are we really all just telling the same story? And so, to me, religion it's a path, right? And what works for you may not work for me. Or I might be down here on my path and you're still here on your path. And I think we're all just trying to find the way to be the best versions of ourselves. And we all have to find it differently.
Yeah.
And so I don't think religion is bad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
It's not part of my path right now.
Yeah. The powerful thing and the incredible thing about you saying that is it almost takes walking away from religion to be able to say that.
Yeah.
And people who have done that will understand, and people who haven't will see it differently. But I think it's really beautiful that you've gotten to a place where you can say, it's a path, and if it's a path that works for you, walk it.
Honor yourself.
Yeah. Because your whole journey has been about learning to trust yourself, to honor yourself, to find your voice.
Yeah.
And where you are now allows you to be able to help other people do the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what are some big misconceptions that people still in a faith tradition might have about people who have left that tradition?
That we don't believe in God anymore. We might have a different name for it, but I think most people agree that there's some sort of higher power. I think that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
For me, is that people just assume you have no faith in anything anymore. You don't believe in anything anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that. But before we do that, we're going to play a little game.
Okay.
So it's called Trick or Truth. Trick or Truth Faith Edition, to be specific.
Yes.
So the way it works is I'm going to give you a stat. You tell me if you think it's true or you think it's a trick. So trick would be a false stat. True would be a truthful stat.
All right.
Okay, here we go. The Bible was written in one sitting by a group of men in a room together.
Trick.
That is a trick. It was written over 1,500 years by multiple authors.
Yes.
And in different regions. The concept of hell doesn't exist in the Old Testament.
Trick.
That's truth.
Really? When did
Hell, as modern Christianity sees it, wasn't developed until much later in religious history.
Isn't that fascinating? Anyway.
I feel like we could go on a lot of rabbit trails on this thing. Mary had a little pet lamb whose fleece was white as snow.
That is not biblical.
There are over 45,000 different Christian denominations worldwide.
I mean, that could be true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Let's leave that there.
Okay.
The phrase, God helps those who helps themselves, is from the Bible.
Say that one again.
The phrase, God helps those who help themselves, is from the Bible.
Oh, I think that's a trick.
It is a trick. It's a
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin quote.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The concept of the rapture didn't exist in Christianity until the 1800s.
Well, based on the other one, I got to say that. Wait, no. The rapture, that's
The
Revelations. It isn't.
That's truth,
Okay.
that it did not exist in Christianity until the 1800s.
See, this is what I'm saying.
That's it was popularized in the 19th century and wasn't a widely held belief before then. That's from the history of Christianity.
Well, this is making me question the whole book of Revelations right now. What the heck were they talking about if they weren't talking about rapture? I'm not going to go back and reread it.
We'll talk afterwards.
Okay.
The Bible was originally written in English.
No.
No, Jesus was white.
Definitely no.
Islam, not Christianity, is the fastest growing religion in the world.
I believe that.
Yeah, truth. Most people who leave Christianity eventually return to their faith.
Ooh. Trick.
That is a trick. The majority who deconstruct do not return to organized religion. So women were among the earliest Christian church leaders.
No.
True. According to Harvard Divinity School, historical records show women held leadership roles in early Christianity before church structures became male-dominated. Last one. More people are leaving religion today than ever before.
I believe that.
Yeah, that's true. Studies show religious affiliations declining rapidly, especially in younger generations. That's from a Gallup survey in 2023. So it's really interesting to me to hear your story in this light, because you're talking as a child. You wanted the rules. You wanted someone to tell you what to do, and in a way that silenced you. But your whole goal was to honor God, to be a good girl, to sacrifice, because that's what you were told to do. And all of those things combined lead you to being, in a way, a repressed woman who can't trust herself, who doesn't know how to speak her mind, who is uncertain of what her own voice even is.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you have deconstructed, because you have, this has been a multi-year process for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is most surprising to you about your life outside of religion?
The most surprising thing to me is like how much you were conditioned without knowing it. Like the things that continue to surface long after that, you're like, oh, wow, that's because I was taught that. Like I
Yeah.
never challenged it, and I never recognized that I'm still acting out things that I was taught that long ago without even recognizing that that's where they came from.
Yeah. They just pop up from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about now? How do you differentiate between things like religion, faith, spirituality?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, faith is trust. You know,
Okay.
trusting in something. You're putting your faith in something. You're putting your trust in something. And you can have faith in a lot of things. I think religion is a choice to follow the rules based on whatever that religion says is fact or the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think spirituality is listening to yourself and honoring what you know is right and know what is right for you. It's that private connection, the quiet the place you go in the quiet when you're connecting to something higher. I think to me that is spirituality.
Wow. I love that
Yeah.
description.
Yeah.
Has your worldview changed since you've left religion?
Yeah. I mean, I think it kind of goes back to the whole thing about religion. You know, like I used to have so much resentment, so much anger towards Christians just because I was so hurt by this one group of them. But I think, again, as I've gone on through my journey and truly honoring the part of me that wants to love. I just want to send love to the world and to the people that are in it. And I can't do that if I'm judging people. And at the end of the day, like I said, I truly think everyone is just trying to be the best person. I think that's everyone's goal.
Do you ever feel like you have to put a new label on yourself?
Is witch appropriate? Just kidding.
Sure is.
No, no, I don't. I think that's been part of my deconstruction is like as much comfort as I felt in the confinement. I am so free now. Like there's nothing caging me in anymore. And I just choose to be free.
What brought you to this level of freedom? What was your healing journey like?
Excruciating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 15 years since I left the church.
Wow.
And many, many, many seasons and cycles of repeating the same patterns over and over again. Sacrifice yourself to be loved. Become whoever that person needs you to be in order to be loved. Finding comfort in chaos. Finding comfort in rules, even if they weren't good for you. Like somebody else telling you what to do and how to live your life. How to be a good person. And it was the year of 38. It was the darkest year of my life. And I think that's really when a lot of things finally broke loose enough for me to transmute and move beyond. But it was dark. I mean, I've worked with so many therapists. Yeah. I've tried so many different things. I've built a community of friends that understand me, that are on similar journeys that I can talk to. But yeah, a lot of it is done alone in the dark, and you just have to move through it. And the more you resist it, the longer you go through it. And
so true.
Yeah. And literally 38 is when I think it really all broke apart for me. And as cliche as it sounds, now it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just launching. I'm launching out of everything that had to die. It took so long to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
I died a long time.
Over and over and over again.
Over and over again. Yeah.
It really is a breaking. At least that's been a similar experience for me. There's the Florence and the Machine song, It's Always Darkest Before the Dawn.
Yep.
And it's one of my favorite songs. But I think there's a lot of truth in it. And I think that when you are going through a process like this to deconstruct and undo years of conditioning and training and thought patterns and cycles and relational patterns and all of that, it really does have to get dark before you're going to find the light. And I think I went through a good 10, 12 years of deconstruction, but then there was just this time where it felt like it broke, and then it broke me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt finally open.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I had to break in order to finally be open.
Yep.
And then I love the phoenix rising from the ashes, because that's very much how it feels once that happens.
Yep.
Then you just soar.
Yep.
You fly.
Yep.
I think when I see people still in their darkness going through this process,
Mm-hmm.
which I think maybe going back to the misconception, people still in the faith can see those who left and think, you're in such a dark place. Like, just come back. And it's like, no, you're only in a dark place until you find the dawn, and then you're free.
Yep.
And when I see people in their dark place, that's what I feel for them and what I hope for them is like, just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Let yourself be broken,
Yes.
because that which is broken gets stronger.
Yep.
And then you're going to just fly.
Yep.
What advice would you give to someone in the middle of their process of deconstruction and darkness? And
Find your people. Become the most diligent observer of yourself. Not in a judgmental way, but literally you almost have to like take yourself out of yourself sometimes and say, why did I just do that? Like, let me figure out what inside of me made me do that. Or when, you find yourself judging somebody, or you find yourself feeling hate for somebody. Why? Why do I feel? Is it because I was conditioned to feel that way? Or is that truly what's within me? Because I think so many of us, we're never taught how to love ourselves. We're taught how to love everyone else, but at the cost of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's truly coming back to you. You have to come back to you. You have to know you better than anybody else. And sometimes it takes a very long time to understand yourself. But yeah, I would say be an observer, the most diligent observer of yourself. Give yourself grace. Find your team of specialists.
Yeah.
To help guide you.
Gotta love those
Yep.
healers and therapists. And,
Yep.
yeah.
But I truly believe it's fall in love with yourself. Because when you can fall in love with yourself, it literally transforms your entire life.
Yeah.
You just have so much more peace. You have so much more grace. And I just feel like you understand and show up in the world so much differently.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are just missing the piece of how to truly know and love yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That's so good. It's been a real honor to watch your journey, because when you and I first met, you were married, you were in that ministry couple, you were leading masters, and I have seen you through each season, each thing, through the divorce, through just all the cycles and patterns. And you, among so many people that I know, are one of the most transformed people that I've seen. The way that you have gone from this, I hope this doesn't come across as offensive, but like this little insecure girl who just wants to be loved and do what's right, but will sacrifice herself for that, into this powerful being that you've become, who knows herself, who loves herself, who is moving through the world now with such a power that didn't exist before. There's just such a clear, like you're just the character arc in a story is like,
right?
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's been such an honor to watch that.
Thanks for seeing me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to touch on real quick, because so much of your story is about sound
Yeah.
and music, and that was such a powerful part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And in a full circle way of finding yourself, you have found music again.
Yes.
You have found sound again.
Yes.
Can you tell us what you have recently found and discovered and what you are doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, again, I talked about 38 and how it was the hardest year of my life. And I just knew I needed something. I needed to find purpose again because I felt like I had none. I was waking up, doing the same things every day, going to sleep and repeating it every single day. And nothing felt fulfilling to me. And so I stumbled upon quantum hypnosis healing therapy. Don't even ask me how. I have no idea how I even landed on it. And I was like, what the heck is that? But for some reason, the knowing in me was like, that's it. That's the missing piece. That's the next right thing. You need to do it. And so I researched the people in this area that do it and found one that I felt like I really connected to. And the one question I told her is, what is my purpose? Like, I don't feel like I'm serving one. I need to know what my purpose is. And the only answer was sound. But it was said twice. So it was like, sound. Sound. A part of me was like, okay. But the other part of me was like, what the heck does that even mean? And I remember leaving the session literally feeling like I was walking out as a different person. It was such a powerful day. And I went home and I remember I Googled, I Googled sound near me. And it pulled up this thing called Soundwise School of Harmonics. And I was like, what the heck does that even mean? And I got on the website and I was scrolling through and it was talking about sound meditations. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. What the heck is a sound meditation? And I saw someone on there did sound sessions on Wednesdays. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go check this out. This feels like the right next thing. And I show up and I walk in and the facilitator, the sound practitioner that day, is someone that I've actually experienced a sound meditation with before, but I had no idea that it was a sound meditation. I don't remember it being called that. And he recognized me. And so you get your yoga mat, you lay down, and you just go into this meditative state through the vibrations of the instruments that are intuitively played based on what the sound practitioner, the energy the sound practitioner is picking up in the space. And it was so powerful. It was so incredible. And I left that day like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That really makes sense. Next day, I run into the sound practitioner at Lemon Street Market. And he's like, it was so good seeing you yesterday. And he's like, I just feel like I need to share this, but when you came in yesterday, I felt like you were coming home. And I'm crying in Lemon Street Market. And that turned into a couple coffee chats where I like really was like picking his brain. Like, what is this sound journey? And long story short, after talking with him, experiencing more sound meditations, I am now enrolled in sound school. The sound practitioner from that day is one of my teachers. Yeah, and at the end of the 7 months, I will be given a certificate and become a sound practitioner.
It's so cool. So you get to heal people through sound.
Yes.
It's just such a full circle moment of finding yourself.
Yeah. I've had no voice and no way to use my intuition in the way I feel like it's most powerful in the last 15 years. And here it is.
You're literally going to be vibrating through the world.
Yes.
So amazing.
Yes, I love it.
All right, Ashley, let's wrap up with some Humans Forward awards. What a time to be a human.
Okay.
I'll give you a category. You get to pick anyone you want to win it.
Okay.
You just have to know them.
Okay.
Most likely to break out of any box they're put in.
Madonna.
You don't know her, but it's fine.
I mean, yeah. I mean, she literally, she has become everything.
True. She's just like a chameleon.
Yep.
Yeah. Most likely to find meaning in unexpected places.
Kenneth Michael.
Who's that?
The sound practitioner that changed my life.
That's amazing.
He's an incredible human being. So much love and light.
The Thriving Without a Label Award.
I'm going to give that to myself.
Love it.
Oh, wait, no. Thriving Without a Label. That's you.
Me?
You.
Well, that's so nice.
Because that's like one of the things. My favorite is when I ask you and Gretchen like really deep questions like, what are your rituals every day? Like, do you have rituals? Like, what do you identify with these days? And you're always like, I just prefer not to put a label on it. Okay, Gent.
All right. The Lost My Religion, Found Myself Award.
That's my award.
That's your award.
That's my award.
So
sure.
fitting. Last one. Most likely to prove you can be a good person without religion.
Glennon Doyle.
Love me some Glennon Doyle.
Love her.
She's the best.
Yes. Such a good person. Such a good human.
Yeah. Ash,
Yes.
I have enjoyed this conversation so much.
Yes. It's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for being on Humans Forward.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching and sharing this episode. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode.